I think so. I'll have some carrier. Well, look like over there. I haven't seen it here yet.
Let's go, Jerry.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. I'm sitting in there.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure that could
What's the age? Right, it's in my office.
Do you have mail?
You're talking. I can hear you. Do you have two good legs? Do you have two good legs?
Legs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can walk up there and do that.
Ooh. I went in there, but I didn't want to.
That's what I tell my kids. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I did go in there at the beginning, but you were already.
Rob, how are you? What's the call?
What's that?
Saturday.
Oh, sure.
Are you gonna go up there?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we're going to sit around and Sunday.
My son wants to go.
Yeah, she wanted to go just for the tail
Oh, so I didn't know that'd be great.
Yeah, I've been barely
Nobody ever even goes down there. Me. Nothing right at the moment. I mean, nothing. Oh, so it's got that far, huh? Yeah. No. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna go around the end.
At this point, at this point, it's a rumor. Yeah.
Touchdowns in the first quarter. I don't see that.
Nothing. You what?
The City of Vandalia Council meeting for November the 19th, 2018 is now called to order. We will have a moment of reflection followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under Council members, you have the council study session minutes of November the 5th and also the council meeting minutes of November the 5th. Are there any corrections or revisions to be made? Seeing none, they'll stand approved. We have no communication, petitions, or awards this evening, nor do we have any public hearings, and that brings us to comments from interested citizens. So if there's someone who would like to make a comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and then your comment.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Timothy Rudd, counsel for Miami Valley Shooting Grounds at 7771 Johnson Station Road. My comment this evening is basically we would like to ask the council to take it upon itself to initiate further action on the ordinance regulating shooting ranges that was entertained at the special meeting last December. There was a draft, obviously some fill in the blanks, some stuff that needed completed. There was a lot of discussion. The room was full. Obviously nothing's been done on that since then. And so we have prepared a draft proposal that we would like for the City Council to look at. I can tell you our intention is to, if necessary, go forward with a ballot initiative and take it to the voters. What we would like to do is we would like to see if the council is interested in coming forward with a solution of its own. And if it's close to what we've put forward, then it would be great for us. And so I would respectfully request permission to give you all a copy of what we prepared and ask that you'd consider it and do what you will with it.
So you have something for us to see this evening?
I have copies for everybody.
Okay.
I would ask permission to approach
Sure.
the bench, but I don't know how you do that. Obviously, this is a time for comment, not a time for interaction. But if anybody has any questions about what we're doing or why, feel free. But that's really the end of what I have to say.
Okay. Does anybody have
Well,
a question?
I mean, very briefly, what are you asking for?
Okay, so what we have is, and this is based significantly on the outline of that was put forward back in December of 2017 at the special meeting. Obviously, there was no proposal at that time, no motion to draft any sort of ordinance. What it is, it's an ordinance that sets forth a number of things. One, it grants authority to the chief of police to issue licenses to commercial shooting ranges. Two, it sets forth the rules to govern those ranges as well as the criteria to be considered in determining whether to issue a permit. It is a shall issue ordinance as drafted, so that as long as certain conditions were met, the chief of police would be required to issue a permit. It also contains the grounds for revocation in the event that the rules are not followed, as well as the grounds for replacing responsible persons under the permit, as well as prohibiting certain individuals from having a permit going forward. Fourth, and I think most importantly, from the standpoint of just how the city governs, one thing we found is that under the current ordinance governing shooting permits, there's no set forth provision for revocation. And so there's no administrative procedures. You run into some murky legal issues in terms of how you go forward in the event that there's a decision to revoke. And so what we did was we modeled the revocation procedures in this draft ordinance off of the Gun Control Act and the enacting regulations used at the federal level for federal firearms licensees, essentially setting forth the procedures that you have to go through and what happens along the way until an ultimate determination is made as to whether or not a license is revoked. So that's the 30,000-foot overview of what we've put together. It is, like I said, in large part based upon what was brought forward by the city just for discussion purposes at the December 2017 meeting.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak this evening? Seeing none, we'll continue on with the agenda. And we have the city manager's report and information item. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So city offices will be closed this Thursday and Friday for the Thanksgiving holiday. The rec center will be open on Thanksgiving Day from 7 a.m. until noon for the fitness area, gym, and track. The rec center will resume regular hours on Friday, November 23rd.
Okay, thank you. We have no action item, and we have no old business, and that brings us to our first resolution of this evening, and that's Resolution 18-R-71. Mr. McDonald?
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an economic development government equity agreement with Montgomery County Office of Economic Development regarding the Intiva Products Project and to enter into an EDGE agreement with the EDGE grant recipient.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, so this resolution does authorize a $70,000 EDGE agreement with Montgomery County for the Intiva project. Intiva has signed a 7-year lease extension for their current facility on Crossroads Court. Intiva has created 35 new full-time positions with an estimated payroll of $2.8 million between the spring of 2017 and today. That adds on to their previous 168 full-time regular employee base. Intiva is also projected to invest nearly $40 million at this location, which primarily consists of research and development. Intiva did also receive a $50,000 Vandalia Development Corporation grant in support of this project.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 18-R-71.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Blakesley, second by Vice Mayor Herbst, that we do approve Resolution 18-R-71. Are there any comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Herbst?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Resolution 18-R-72. Mr. McDonald?
A resolution declaring a business district and corresponding speed reduction area along National Road from the intersection of National Road and Dixie Drive, east to the intersection of National Road and Ranch View Drive.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, so this resolution would establish National Road between Dixie Drive and Ranchview Drive as a business district for the purpose of reducing the speed limit from 35 miles an hour to 25 miles per hour. This section of National Road meets the Ohio Revised Code's definition of business district because 50% or more of the frontage along National Road between successive intersections is occupied by buildings in use for business. Upon adoption by council, the establishment of the business district would be subject to review and approval by the Ohio Department of Transportation. The speed limit would then become effective upon the city installing 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs. The purpose of establishing a business district and reducing the speed limit is to slow truck traffic through town, to make the corridor more pedestrian and bicycle friendly, and to allow motorists additional time to view businesses within the district. Again, we've estimated that with the continuous flow of traffic, it's estimated that it would take an additional 16 seconds to traverse the business district at 25 miles an hour versus 35 miles an hour.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 18-R-72 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Forrest, second by Councilman Lewis, that we do approve Resolution 18-R-72 as presented. Are there any comments?
I also think it's worth mentioning that this doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be permanent, that we do have the ability to change the speed limit in the future if we deem that necessary.
Yes.
Anyone else? Would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Herbst? Excuse me.
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Resolution 18-R-73. Mr. McDonald?
A resolution to designate the Vandalia Development Corporation as an economic agent for the city pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 1724.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So in 2008, the Vandalia Development Corporation was incorporated to assist the city of Vandalia with economic development activities. That included incentive grants to businesses. It was primarily designed to develop the downtown area. Due to the law at that time, it was formed as a separate non-city entity. However, many of the reasons behind forming the VDC in that manner are now moot issues due to changes in law. And also at the time of the VDC's formation, the scope of the organization has changed. It's being used now more for economic development outside of the downtown area. Additionally, the VDC is subject to oversight as a charitable institution through the state of Ohio. Again, the law director has recommended that the city transition the VDC to a statutory economic development corporation, sometimes referred to as a community improvement corporation, or CIC. So as a statutory entity, the VDC will still have to file with the state. It would be more streamlined, and it would have more financial transparency and would have broader abilities in how it accepts and spends money that's provided by the city. Again, as a statutory economic development corporation, the VDC can't protect financial proprietary information or trade secrets of companies that are interested in doing business in Vandalia. And the VDC would have broad powers to buy, sell, and lease real estate and personal property, to apply for and administer grants, or buy and sell land owned by a political subdivision without competitive bidding. So the two things that need to happen in order for the CIC to be implemented, first, the VDC has to, the Board of Trustees has to approve a motion, which they did at their September 26th meeting by a 3-0 vote. Again, second, this resolution needs to be adopted by council.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve Resolution 18R73.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Blakesley, second by Councilman Ayers, that we do approve Resolution 18-R-73. Any comments? Would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Lewis, or
Yeah.
sorry, Councilmember Farce.
Yes.
We're out of order here. Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Herbst,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. We have no ordinances in their first reading. We do have an ordinance in its second reading, and that's ordinance 18-24. Mr. McDonald?
An ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Vandalia, Ohio during the calendar year ending December 31, 2019.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
No. Thank you, Your Honor. Again, so this ordinance would adopt a 2019 appropriations budget for the city of Vandalia. Council conducted 2 budget review workshops where you reviewed and discussed the proposed budget and received presentations from department directors regarding their respective operating and capital budgets.
Thank you. Since this is an ordinance and its second reading, I will open up a public hearing. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and then your comment. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a comment.
I move that we approve ordinance 18-24 in its second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ayler, second by Councilman Gerhart, that we do approve ordinance 18-24 in its second reading. Any comments from anybody? Would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard,
Yes.
Councilmember Farce,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Herbst,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We have no emergency ordinances this evening, and that brings us to the reports from our boards and commissions. You have the Board of Zoning Appeals minutes of October the 10th. We have the Planning Commission minutes of June the 26th, the Planning Commission minutes of October the 9th, the Vandalia Civil Service draft minutes of October the 30th, and the Vandalia Records Commission draft minutes of November the 6th. Are there any comments about any of those? Seeing none. The bill listing for October 2018 is in the amount of $2,607,688.97. And that brings us to council comments, starting with Mr. McDonald. Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Just one item. Again, we need to thank, again, given the weather event last week with the ice storm, it's definitely our public safety division, police and fire, public works, parks and recreation departments for all of their efforts, helping our residents, get debris out of their yards, getting the roadways cleared that morning. And just to let people know, we did put a public notice out, but for those that had, we know there's a lot of damage around town with downed trees and downed branches. Folks can take, if you have the ability, you can take that material to be our mulch for free and drop it off. If you don't have the ability, you can haul that stuff out to the curb lawn, and the city will eventually come by to get it. Again, just remind people the curb lawn is the grass area between the curb and the sidewalk. We ask that people not put it out in the curb because that will interfere with our leaf pickup and or snow removal should we have a storm before we get there. One of the issues we're running into is we have a couple trucks that are going around town picking up leaves. We have a couple other trucks set up for salt and snow and ice removal should that happen, and so we don't really have spare trucks at this point to go around and pick up the debris. So as time becomes available, as the forecast permits, we'll be able to get around and pick that stuff up. It just may be later rather than sooner that the city gets around to getting it. Unless Mr. Cron has anything to add to that. That's it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Lewis?
Nothing, Your Honor, this evening.
Councilman Ehlers?
I'm fine, thank you.
And Councilman Gerhart?
No comments tonight.
Councilman Blakesley?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilwoman Faris?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Vice Mayor Herbst?
The only thing I would add is what I briefly spoke on at the workshop was that this past Friday, I had the honor of attending the Intiva ribbon cutting along with Councilwoman Forrest and several of the staff members. We got to tour the facility firsthand and see just how creative and innovative they are. And again, I just want to congratulate them for making the decision to stay here in Vandalia. That's it.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things here. The city of Vandalia is pleased to have become certified as an Alzheimer's friendly business this past week. City staff partnered with Home Instead Senior Care, which is located on Kenbrook, to obtain the certification, which equips our employees to better serve those we encounter who may suffer from some form of dementia. And then also December the 2nd, which is a Sunday, we're going to have our Christmas tree lighting, and that will begin at 6 o'clock out at the rec center. And as in the past, we'll have a very special guest come. I think the name of that guest is Santa Claus. And then, of course, we also have entertainment and cookies and hot chocolate, and it's just a really nice time. So if you can make it out there, we'd love to see you. So with that, I will adjourn our meeting. Oh, no. I forgot. We're going to have an executive meeting, and the purpose of the executive session is to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee, more specifically, matters relating to the city manager. So do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Lewis, second by Councilman Gerhart, that we go into executive session and then we will come back to adjourn our meeting. But I do need to have a vote on the motion. Mr. McDonald?
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhart?
Yeah.
Councilmember Faust?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Herbst?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries, and so we will go into executive session at this
How
time.
did the June 6th ones get?
He's got a performance review every 30 days.
Sure. That's right.
They got pictures today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was picture day.